So I'm sure this is not going to come out, but there's a soccer ball floating over there, which is really strange. I had heard there's a little bit of a kind of a gyre in the Atlantic Ocean, similar to the Pacific, the Great Garbage Patch. I don't think it's as big and you don't hear it mentioned as much, but we are on the northern side of it now, so I might see other kind of random stuff floating by, but very strange to look out and see a soccer ball. So about 12 hours of motoring there, and now the wind has filled in to the extent that we're reaching along quite nicely at 5 knots in really flat, calm conditions. We'll be on day 10 before we know it, and we'll be looking at the last 4 or 5 days of the trip. So it's going quick now at this stage, really flying by. So extremely annoyingly, last night at about 3 or 4 o'clock I was anticipating a wind shift and stayed up for it, and ended up staying up way too long and getting very tired and falling asleep, and the wind shift obviously occurred shortly after I fell asleep. So this Z is a typical single-handers pattern of needing sleep. So you fall asleep, the wind shifts, and then you wake up 4 hours later having lost 15 miles. You can see now I've set this quite large band on my route. I've set a 5 mile cross-track or limit on either side, so when I go outside that it'll give me an alarm. So I should have done that ages ago. It's just, again, the sailing in shifty areas is sort of new to me, and Reese has been very good about forecasting them for me. I just, it's hard, obviously nobody can predict the exact time, so I end up trying to give a guess, and then I end up doing something stupid like that. But anyway, no harm done. At least I'm not near land. And live and learn. So that kind of sleep related mistake is really frustrating, just to feel like you're losing hours in the wrong direction like that. And yeah, it's kind of, I'm finding it difficult to shake myself from the funk of that this morning. I was enjoying the passage so much, and then just so frustrating. So I feel like everything I touched today is just not working, so it's going to be do as little as possible kind of day, I think, and just try and catch up on sleep, which I'm obviously needing. It's easy to kind of fall into the trap of thinking you're a bit sort of superhuman, or that you don't need as much sleep, because the first 5 or 6 days it feels perfectly fine, on these really limited amounts of sleep, and then yeah, you find out that you have to pay the piper, and that you are just completely normal when it comes to sleep and need as much as everybody else. It's just that, you can like most people, you can do without for 3, 4, 5, 6 days, but then it catches up on you. Sunday morning, it's coming up on day 12, full day 12, starting day 13 shortly. Yeah, I mean, it's been beautiful the last 3 days, really. Just been flying along on a almost due easterly course now. We've got almost all of our northing done, so it's just running down the easting to get to the Azores. I caught another seagull. I've had very bad luck with fishing this trip. I've caught absolutely nothing but seabirds. I think another Corey's shearwater. I'm gonna have to check that when I get in. So it was very easy to unhook, but when I threw the bird back, it landed in the water, and the hook landed in the water at the same time as it, and then its leg got stuck. So it's another one of those catching the same thing twice sort of situations. But again, the leg wasn't particularly badly hooked either. The bird just looks seriously annoyed. But I didn't get bitten this time, or pecked, so that's positive. First pot of dolphins I've seen in a long time, which is great. And there's lots of them. They look excited to see me too. So we might be coming to the Azorean waters, which are supposed to be really wildlife rich. Ah, beautiful. Just really appreciating this electric auto helm, the tiller pilot. I think it's a TP10, Simrad possibly. I don't really rate the things, I don't trust them. They have a tendency, every one I've ever had has a tendency to break. I think I've gone through about 10 of them in my 7 or 8 years of cruising sailing in this iteration of my sailing life. And this arrangement here, obviously they're not particularly well waterproofed. Every one I've had has had water ingress, and that's what's done for them. And the mistake I've made in the past is to waterproof the body of the thing and then leave the ram arm covered, and the rain gets on the ram arm or spray, and then when it retracts into the body, it brings that moisture in with it. So that's the solution, is to make sure that the ram arm has like its own spray protection, and then it can go in and out, and concertina the protection as well. This area here is the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. So it's an area of relatively shallow water, and I say relatively, I'm talking like 1,000 or 1,000 meters and 500 meters occasionally, 1,500, as opposed to the 4 mile or 4 or 5 kilometers that it is either side of it. So that's the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. So we're just kind of coming up to that now. Really, it lies just to the west of the Azores, up at this latitude. We'll zoom out for a reference and put it all on the one screen. There's Bermuda there. So as you can see, like in terms of the overall journey, we're very, very, very nearly there. It's going to be 40 hours at current speed, but we're not going to keep up 6 knots the entire time, and I wouldn't want to anyway, because I don't really want to get in at night if it can be helped. I can't zoom out anymore, but that's nearly my second transatlantic in the bag, if you consider sailing from the Caribbean to the Azores, a transatlantic, and not all the way across yet, but it's very much in the European sort of side of things. Yeah, so lots to look forward to sail around the Azores and put this trip in sort of a context, because yeah, it's my mind is as usual kind of a jumble of emotions right now, and it's kind of hard to know what to make of it all, and where it leaves me. So my current dilemma is, does that look like a face? I kind of think it does anyway. One of my early warning signs for being very, very, very sleep deprived is that I start seeing faces everywhere. So if these look really like faces to me. So if they do look like faces, that's fine, but if they don't look like faces, then I'm sleep deprived. So I have to almost keep a catalogue of all the things that look like faces on board the boat, so that I don't worry if like, oh, that looks like a face. Well, that always looks like a face even when I'm not sleep deprived. But then there's things that only start looking like faces, like plastic bags and brown paper bags in particular always look like faces when I'm tired. So because it's just these two, and they do look like they are actually face-like anyway. So just to be on the safe side, I might try and catch up on sleep today. It's been a crazy passage. There has been a bit of everything, but there's been heavy wind, light wind, beam reaching, lots of jibes, lots of reefing and unreefing, and lots of things going wrong in terms of equipment, lots of things going right in terms of equipment. Sleep-wise, got some great sleep some portions of the trip, and pretty terrible sleep other portions of the trip. I think coming to an end now, I can feel my body's just like, no, I'm not sleeping. I'm too excited. I want to see the progress and see things change, etc. So my distance to destination has just dropped below 100 miles, which is absolutely brilliant. Time to destination, well, we've gone 7 knots. We're going to be averaging 7 knots, but about 19 hours. A couple of moody looking clouds out on the horizon, but apart, I mean, it feels, and actually it's rain clouds overhead, but it feels pretty okay. But there is a lot of wind forecast for later. So a slightly evil looking evening for my last evening at sea. Yeah, within, what is it, 66 miles of Flores now, so very, very, very excited. It's local time around 9 o'clock, so I'll be in probably around 9 in the morning local time, maybe a little bit earlier if the wind keeps picking up, as I think it's forecast to do. All good. Looking forward to getting in and getting to see what Flores is all about. So, closing this one out with what feels like a bit of a gallop to the finish line. We got a 22 gusting 30 behind us for the next few hours. It's really, really built up. So I'm on a starboard tack, and the wind is dead behind me, so I really don't want to have to jibe in this kind of conditions. So if the wind goes further northwest, which it is forecast to do, then and then I will have to jibe, but I'm hoping that I won't, because yeah, it'll be a pain. So wow, it is windy out there. So we have the first evidence of land, which is radar return. I can see 17 miles away now is land on the radar, which is great. So next I'll be looking out for lights. Yeah, bit of a crazy one to finish off. Once the sun comes up, I'll video the waves and the I don't know if you can hear the howl of the wind there, but it is pretty howly. So I can't really make out very much of that, but the scene out here this morning is pretty grim. Big waves, but more importantly, yeah, I don't know if that's probably not going to come out, but there's a light. So I'm seeing a light from Flores over there. Yeah, so first light here, and as I was saying, the waves are not exactly very big, but quite fast moving and breaking and nasty in general. That is the corner of Flores, the south, I don't know, southeastern corner, I think. I'm looking at kind of the south coast, but it's pretty veiled in mist and rain at the moment, so yeah, it's around 11 or 12 miles to go. And I can't get in soon enough really, because this weather is only getting worse, so it'd be good to get into the shelter of the harbour. So yeah, look, I mean, there's always going to be one passage that would end in this way that I'd be closing it out in deteriorating conditions, and likely to be this one or Ireland. So land ho! This is the misty, mysterious looking Flores in the Azores, and this is the misty, mysterious looking North Atlantic. Yeah, dying to get in now and get an anchor down or get alongside a harbour wall. I'm not sure exactly what yet, and get settled and get some sleep. But yeah, it looks kind of cool actually, really craggy and mountainous. That is a steep looking wave. Seems to have spent itself more or less before hitting us, which is good. Of course, the next one now is going to be even steeper. In fairness to Sapphira, she really has just risen and fallen with them nicely. Like several waves, you think, oh my god, that's really going to hit hard, and then it just sort of lifts up over them. Dealing with a bit of an acceleration zone here just off the tip of the island, which sort of makes sense, but hopefully just another half hour and then I'll be into the lee of the island itself. And the waves seem to be being squeezed around the corner as well. It's kind of inevitable. Glad I'm not running completely on empty, because this would be quite traumatic to be dealing with when extremely exhausted. 45 minutes. Catching my first sight of the port ahead of me. I can see cranes. I know there's a lot of ongoing work and a breakwater, so that's positive. And the hills continue to look very nice in the sunshine, and the sea continues to be pretty ugly. Just hoping I find a little bit of shelter before having to enter into this harbour. Take down my sail, take down the spinnaker pole.
figure out if I'm going to anchor or come alongside the wall. I have to play that one by ear a little bit.
In the lee of the island by now, but if anything it's actually getting windier, so I suspect there's an acceleration zone around.
Beautiful hills.
Actually come out and it looks even more beautiful. The port does look a wreck. It's been destroyed in a storm relatively recently. There used to be a marina here and there isn't anymore, but the breakwaters are being rebuilt. So that's my passage. It's 15 days, almost just shy of 15 days from Bermuda to Flores in the Azores. Sorry, there's a mad shadow on that now. Anyway, 15 days. All good really, all amazing.